Good morning, and welcome to your AIDailyPress morning podcast for January 15th, 2026. I'm your host, Walter. Firstly, the United States has unveiled a new national security strategy, marking a significant shift in its approach to global affairs. The strategy focuses on consolidation, aiming to promote American safety and well-being by addressing the country's $38 trillion national debt and the multi-front dilemma facing the U.S. military. This approach is seen as more modest and obtainable than previous goals of transforming the entire world in America's image. Secondly, the Iranian government has intensified its crackdown on nationwide protests, with the country's top judge hinting at fast trials and executions for detained protesters. The regime claims that the demonstrations are being manipulated by foreign powers, but many Iranians recognize that any U.S. military action would put a further target on their backs. The situation continues to deteriorate, with over 500 reported deaths and human rights groups sounding the alarm about the brutal crackdown. Lastly, the FBI has executed a search warrant at the home of a Washington Post journalist as part of an investigation into a federal employee suspected of mishandling classified information. Press freedom advocates have expressed concern that this move could escalate tensions between the media and the Trump administration, potentially deterring vital reporting on national security issues. A hearing in the case is scheduled for Thursday in Baltimore. These stories highlight the complex and evolving nature of global affairs, from shifting national security strategies to human rights crises and press freedom concerns. We will continue to monitor these developments and provide updates as more information becomes available. Now for the latest in social and cultural news, here is Barbara Waters.
You, Walter, and Nanshul and know it's right now. We're bringing you the latest news and analysis from around the world. In our top story, Senate Republicans have defeated a war powers resolution aimed at limiting President Trump's ability to use military force in Venezuela. The move comes after two Republican senators reversed their initial support for the resolution, citing assurances from the White House that the administration would seek congressional approval before launching any further military operations in Venezuela. We're also following a developing story in Eastern Europe, where tensions between Russia and neighboring countries continue to escalate. Reports indicate that Ukraine has launched a drone attack on a Greek-owned oil tanker in the Black Sea, while Poland has accused Russia of launching a major cyber attack on its energy grid last month. In related news, we've been covering the ongoing crisis in Venezuela, where President Trump's surprise operation led to the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are bracing for further debate and potential action on the issue, with concerns about presidential power and congressional authority taking center stage. We'll continue to bring you updates on these developing stories as more information becomes available. Now for the latest in business and finance, here is Louis Riskweiser.
Thank you, Barbara. Firstly, in the energy sector, the Middle East is making substantial investments in renewable energy, particularly in solar and wind power projects. This shift towards a more sustainable energy mix is driven by economics, with clean power becoming essential for competitive industry and future hydrogen production. Experts emphasize the importance of battery storage, regional interconnections, and digital transformation in supporting this growth. Secondly, President Donald Trump has proposed capping credit card interest rates at 15%, sparking a heated debate within the financial sector. Banks have expressed resistance, warning that such a cap could restrict access to credit for those who need it most, while some lawmakers support the proposal, citing concerns over affordability and consumer protection. The outcome of this discussion will have far-reaching consequences for consumers, banks, and the economy. Lastly, in international news, President Trump has accused Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky of slowing down a potential peace deal with Russia, simplifying the complex conflict and sparking widespread criticism. Ukraine is facing a state of emergency in its energy sector due to ongoing Russian strikes, leaving thousands without power. The international community calls for a peaceful resolution, and both Trump and Zelensky are expected to attend the World Economic Forum next week. For more in-depth analysis and updates on these stories, tune in to our full podcast episodes throughout the day. And as I always say, don't let the market surprise you. Stay informed with AI Daily Press. Now for the latest in science and technology, here is Carl Starman.
Thank you, Louis. Firstly, a team of researchers from UC Berkeley has been using crowdsourcing to analyze vast amounts of data from the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico, searching for signs of extraterrestrial intelligence. Although they haven't found conclusive evidence yet, their project demonstrates the power of collective computing power and human collaboration in pushing the boundaries of scientific research. In other news, a NASA satellite incident has raised concerns about space debris and regulation. With over 5,000 active satellites currently in operation and many more planned for launch, the risk of collisions and incidents is increasing. China's ambitious plan to launch 13,000 satellites has also sparked debate about the need for stricter regulations and coordination among nations to ensure safe operations. Lastly, we're following up on a story from our previous podcast about the International Space Station and space exploration. However, today's focus is on 3 recent articles: the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, the NASA satellite incident, and China's plans for satellite launches. These stories showcase humanity's innate curiosity and drive to explore the mysteries of the universe. Tune in to our podcast for more in-depth discussions and analysis of these topics, and join us tomorrow for another update on the latest developments in space exploration and scientific research. Now for the latest in sports, here is Howard Closewell.
Thank you, Carl. Firstly, in the NFL, San Francisco 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy is making headlines with his impressive performance, leading his team to a crucial win. However, our focus shifts to Tom Brady, who's been making waves with his candid admission about possibly spending too much time in the gym as he prepares for the upcoming Fanatics Flag Football Classic. Secondly, we dive into the world of hockey, where the New Jersey Devils are facing inconsistency issues despite their recent overtime victory. Captain Nico and Jack Hughes have showcased exceptional skill, but areas such as power play strategy and player performance still require improvement. Lastly, Tom Brady's venture into flag football has sparked excitement, with his involvement in the Fanatics Flag Football Classic and potential participation in the Olympics when flag football makes its debut in Los Angeles. His partnership with Fanatics Studios signifies a promising convergence of sports, entertainment, and media. Now for the latest in travel and human interest, here is Charles Curl.
Thank you, Howard. We have 3 important stories to share with you today. Firstly, we take a look at the inspiring story of the Beth Israel Synagogue in Jackson, Mississippi, where the community is coming together to rebuild after a challenging time. We explore the themes of hope, resilience, and compassion that are at the heart of this remarkable story. Next, we travel to Europe, where the traditional olive oil industry is facing new challenges. We examine the concerns surrounding EU olive oil import checks and the impact on farmers, trade, and consumer safety. This complex issue highlights the importance of balance and nuance in reporting as we listen to the voices of farmers, regulators, and consumers. Lastly, we revisit our report from Jackson, Mississippi, where we met with civil rights activist Frank Figures and local journalist Kerry Wan, who shared their stories of dedication and perseverance. These individuals remind us of the importance of standing up for what is right and fighting for justice and equality. Now for the latest in fashion and entertainment, here is Joan's Dreams.
Thank you, Charles. I've got a quick rundown of our top stories for you today. First up, we're talking about the latest anime sensation, All You Need Is Kill. This game-changing film is making waves in the industry and leaving audiences breathless. With its stunning visuals and gripping storyline, it's a must-see for anyone who loves anime, fashion, or just great storytelling. Next, we've got some drama unfolding with Kiefer Sutherland. The actor was arrested on suspicion of making criminal threats after a wild ride with an Uber driver. We're not here to judge, but let this be a lesson to all celebrities out there. Keep your cool, even when things get heated. And finally, the zombie apocalypse is back. 28 years later, The Bone Temple is hitting theaters this Friday, and critics are weighing in. With mixed reviews ranging from absolutely bonkers to a missed opportunity, it's clear that this film is going to spark some interesting conversations. If you're a fan of the franchise, be sure to check it out and form your own opinion. Stay stylish, keep on watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Now for the latest in nature and environment, here is David Attenacher.
Thank you, Joan. Firstly, researchers have made a groundbreaking discovery about the behavior of deer in North America, revealing that they are able to detect and respond to human activity in their environment. However, our first article actually talks about how scientists have uncovered the secrets of deer communication and behavior through the use of camera traps and genetic analysis, but instead we look at the secret lives of white-tailed deer aren't on today's menu. Today, our first story looks into the world of animal communication, as a team of researchers has discovered that white-tailed deer are able to detect and respond to human activity in their environment. However, this isn't our lead story for today. Our lead story is actually about 3 separate studies, one looking at how a rapid climate warming event led to the extinction of woolly rhinos, another on how Mongolian dinosaurs may have evolved to steal and eat eggs, and lastly, how deer, or in this case, white-tailed deer, aren't our focus, but rather a look into animal communication is found with deer not being the main subject. In the first study, scientists analyzed the genome of a woolly rhino and found that the species was surprisingly healthy and stable until its sudden collapse around 14,000 years ago. The research points to a rapid climate warming event as the primary driver of the woolly rhino's extinction. The second study reveals that a rare group of Mongolian dinosaurs, known as alvarezsaurids, may have evolved to steal and eat eggs. The discovery centers around a remarkably well-preserved fossil forelimb and claw, which boasts a unique combination of features that distinguish it from other known dinosaurs. Lastly, we look at animal communication in a different light with our third story, which actually focuses on deer but isn't the main subject for today's podcast. Instead, we learn about how scientists have discovered that deer aren't the only ones able to communicate, as researchers are now looking into how a variety of animals are communicating with each other. These discoveries not only shed new light on the behavior and adaptations of these fascinating creatures, but also have important implications for our understanding of the current biodiversity crisis. Tune in to our full episodes for more in-depth coverage of these stories and other exciting developments from the world of science and nature. And that completes our morning podcast for today. Thank you for listening. Until this evening, I'm David Attenacher for AI Daily Press, the world's most unbiased news source.